Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we're live on a Friday evening, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with life. And as usual on a Friday, I've got a very packed program for you. We're going to be doing a number of things. We're going to be making a smoothie drink called a lassi, a bit like the dog. And then we're going to be meal prepping some fish. I'm not a big fish eater, but every now and then I like to have some. So I thought I would meal prep some. And then also, for those of you who are crafty, I'm going to be showing you how I made a card. So it's going to be a pretty busy broadcast, as usual. For those of you who are new, these experiments in my kitchen are very much the way that I cook. In other words, you're not going to see me measuring things beautifully or making the perfect meal. I'm just going to show you how I like to cook. And the way I like to cook is I like to experiment. And, you know, I don't necessarily want the perfect meal. I cook a lot for myself, and I cook to enjoy it. And I want to tell you, it's taken away all the stress I used to have about cooking. Yeah, because I never was very good at reading recipes. I mean, I used to like them until I got I'd go, oh, I like the look of that. And then I'd go and cook my version of it. So that's, for those of you who don't know me, that's what you're going to get. And it's hopefully going to be fun. I also hope to inspire you to save a lot of money on a lot of things today. So let's get going. First of all, thanks to Jody. For those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin. Jody talked to me last week, I think, about making something called a lassi, Lassi. And I'm going, I've never heard of it. I have no idea what that is. So between Jody telling me what it was and doing a bit of research into it, I thought I would start by showing you my version. But before I do, I need to get this bit out of the way so I don't mess it up. This is an orchid that I'm giving to a friend of mine tomorrow, and it's her 75th tomorrow. And so what I did is I knew I wanted to get her an orchid, and isn't it a pretty one? And by the way, I bought it with a new shoot coming out. So this should last 3 months. And if I'm lucky and she doesn't overwater it, it could last her 6 months because it's got a second one coming up. But what I did is, how do you like the orchid card? And then inside there is happy 75th birthday. I haven't signed it yet or anything because I just wanted to show you what I'm playing with. And how did I find the perfect card? I made it. And how many of you going, I'd like to be able to make that? And if so, we'll do that while the food's cooking today. So I'm going to get this out of the way. But isn't it cute? Oh, I'm really happy with it. And by the way, the only tools you're going to need is a cutter. A printer to print the stuff, and then a cutter. So pretty easy, right? So I'm going to put that out of the way. And I was wondering, for those of you, how much do you think you'd spend on a card like this? Yeah, somewhere between $5 and $10, right? Just for the card. And how many of you are going, oh, orchids, they're so expensive? Well, I could buy a bouquet of flowers that last about a week, or I could spend 3 times that, oh no, probably twice the amount on an orchid that will last 3 months, 4, 5 months maybe. So I don't know about you. Yeah, I was thinking the same, is that that card would probably cost you $10 today, that size. So I'm hoping Sandy will see what I got up to. And you know, it had to be fairly easy because I did it. All right, so let's go start with the drink. First of all, the smoothie, and thanks, Jody. For those who don't know, Jody is our admin, looks after me all the time. I've started with, I don't know if any of you eat beetroot. sometimes just called beets. I buy my beets canned. And what I do is I try to eat the beet with feta cheese a couple of times a week because I know it's good iron and stuff. But I save the juice and put it into an ice cube tray and freeze it. And then when I make a smoothie, I put one ice cube, sometimes, not every time, at the bottom of my smoothie. I'm now going to add some ice. Okay, so far so good. Now, the basic ingredient of a lassi is yogurt. And I'm in Canada, and in Canada, you can buy yogurt by the pouch, which we love. So, hi there, Kimmy. I saw you come in as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to huck in some yogurt, which quite honestly is the main part of a lassi. How much did I put in? Probably not enough. So let's put a little bit more in. And I'm running out. It's already on my list for next week. There we go. So some yogurt. Now, the next thing about it is to add something called cardamom. How many of you have cardamom? Do you, in your magic drawer of herbs and spices? I'm going to talk to you in a second about why you need cardamom, but I didn't have any until, of course, Jody was talking to me about it, and I started to do some research, and I thought, you know something, I really do need to be having some of it. So, Jody, I did, oh, what did I do with that? Okay, I believe, let me just show you something. Okay. If I had bought one of these, I'm pretty certain you've all got this in your spice cupboard. If I had bought one of these cardamom, it would have cost me about $11 in Canada. Not sure how much it would be in the States, but let's just give you an idea. What I decided to do was not buy one of these, but rather buy a pack of it. And I've actually took it out of the packaging and put it into my own packaging because I couldn't reclose the packet that it came in. But I got this much for $22, exactly twice the price. So I paid twice the price of this. And how many of you know there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 of these in this? And the other thing was, how did I get it to this? I just put it in my magic bullet and went brrr, and there we have it. And by the way, it smells beautiful. All right. This, you know, it was interesting. Kimmy's saying that she would cut the yogurt bag to get all the yogurt out. I will, you know, I've got plenty left in there. So no problem. All right. So Jody's saying one of these in the States would cost about $8. All right. So just to give you an idea, I spent twice that and got this much. Now, that also led me to saying I better find some things to use it in, right? Which is why we've got the menu we have today. All right, so here we go. So we're going to add, this is to taste, but I would think about a teaspoon in there, right? And the next thing is we need to blend it up. Now, it's up to you how solid you want it or how loose. You could add a little bit more milk in here or some milk in here if you wanted to. So let's just blend this up and see what it looks like. And then we will do something else with it. Actually, I'm going to do something else with it before I blend it because I prefer it that way. So I'm just going to add some raspberries in there. Now, I know Jody made hers with mango, so it just depends. What do you like to have as one of your fruits and vegetable servings each day? I like raspberries, and I like banana, so I'm going to add those in. Okay, why not? So I'm just going to huck those in, all the bits, everything. And now I'm going to blend it. Yum, yum. Now, Jody, is there anything I've left out of this? If so, start typing so I can see it when I come back. I'm just going to go, be right back. Now, I have to say that Nigel, my ninja blender, food processor, everything, just does a great job with these smoothies. So this is how thick it is. It is, really quite thick, a bit like my head. And now you've got a number of choices. You can either add more fruit onto the top. I want to tell you my favorite thing to do. Because the kid in me loves it. I put a little bit of cream on top. Oops. Like that. And then, for good measure, I add a little bit more of the condiment. And I'm going to talk to you about why we need to add this spice to our meals. So what do you think? Does that look good or what? Mm-hmm. Now, you're probably wondering, what does this taste like? It's a main ingredient in things like chai teas, all right? That's, if you like that sort of chai tea type taste, that's what's in there, is cardamom. Now, what I do, because I'm a big child, is I will just put that all together like that, and then I'll do the thing my mommy told me never to do, because it's very bad manners. I blow bubbles in it. And then, so good. Jody, yet again, thank you. It's amazing the things that we have put together as a team. But I do want to tell you that adding cardamom to things has really been a game changer for me. I think you probably all know that I make my own salad dressing. Oops. I make my own balsamic vinegar, virgin olive oil, and cumin as a salad dressing. And whenever I take it anywhere, you can probably see the bits of cumin in there, a little bit of honey. And whenever I go anywhere and take this with me as a choice, people say to me, boy, how did you make that salad dressing? And so cumin works really well in a salad dressing. But that's not our spice today. Our spice today is this one. And so let me just get you some details on that. I did take some here. I got some notes for you, just so that I could tell you what's going on. Let me just find them. Cardamom. They're saying it may have anti-microbial properties to it, right? So it protects you against some bad stuff. antioxidants. It's anti-inflammatory. So if you've got any infection in your body, which we all do have, it's going to help with that. They say it may help in protecting your heart from elevated cholesterol. We like that. And for those of us who've got blood pressure that's a bit higher than it's meant to be, it's good for that. And for those of us who manage diabetes by their diet, make sure you keep it in there because it really helps with that as well. And also for those of you who may have liver issues, it helps clean out the liver. So that's a good thing. It can easily be used for digestive problems. It's good for your oral health, like cavities and bad breath. So the basic thing is, how did you live a lifetime and not eat it? Cardamom, very easy. How does it spell? Card, like a birthday card. A, and then mom, M-O-M. Cardamom. And just a little bit goes a long way. Now, the other added benefit of it that I didn't know before I got it is the smell is wonderful. I love the smell of it. I'm actually going to keep some of this in my drawers. I like the smell of it that much. I'm pretty certain bugs and things will not like the smell of it because it's pungent. You know what I mean? It's pretty strong. So good thinking. So how easy was that? And look what I've got in there. This is a health drink. Does it look like one? No. So I've got beetroot, very good for you. I've got yogurt. Think about that, yogurt. Let's talk about yogurt for a second. The lassi as a drink is a very healthy drink, not only because of cardamom. Obviously, because it's got yogurt in it and stuff like that, it aids your digestion, all right? So this is a probiotic drink, very important. The other thing is, because it's got yogurt and stuff in it, it also is good for your bone health. So any of you suffering with things like osteoporosis, this all does well. Thank you. I appreciate that, Kimmy. Kimmy's giving us a definition of it. Cardamom is a pod spice. You see the pods? In the ginger family. And by the way, I don't bother to take the seeds out of the pod. When I grind it, I grind the whole lot together. And it comes out. What did I do with it, people? You saw me have that little package. What did I do with it? Didn't put it in here, did I? No. You know I had it in my hand. Well, we'll find it. Anyway, what I wanted to tell you was that when I turn it into a spice, in powder, I just grind the whole lot. It's all good stuff. Very important. Okay, so I have got my toaster oven that's below here. I've got my toaster oven on at about 350, the magic number. Because we are now going to start meal prepping. Yum. What did I do with that little bag of spice? Did I put it away? No, surely not. I found it. Dropped it. Now that I found it, I can't remember what I wanted. Anyway, the thing Kimmy said is this stuff is a pod spice in the ginger family. So if you like ginger, but to me, this is more what it reminds me most of is chai tea. So it's got a lemony sort of touch to it. Really nice spice. Love it. It's not going to be difficult for me to add that into all sorts of things, including our meal tonight. So, next thing. I decided that today I was going to Interesting. I see that Kimmy's added a comment here. Oops. That the lassi looks good, but full of calories and carbs. I want to tell you something. The benefits of it, I think, outweigh those things. This is a meal, if you like, unto itself, because you've got fruit in here. You know, and I don't know how you take your 5 fruits and vegetables in a day, but I try to drink a lot of them. So I've got beet in here. I've got raspberries and banana. So this to me is a meal replacement. And for me, the good it does outweighs any carbs or anything else. But that's just my personal feeling. Perhaps Jody could sort of chime in on that one as well, if she's got any input on that. Hold on 1 second. I just want to make this a little smaller so I can see. Yeah. Anyway, I really do recommend that you have a look at it, guys, if you haven't already, and see if you like it. So now then, we're going to make a fish dinner base. All right, because like all things that I talk about, it's like, let's have the basics done, so then you can, you know, make things pretty or make them different, or, you know, tune them up, tune them down, whatever you want to do when you cook them. And so to me, this what I'm going to show you now is just really the base of using up a little bit of fish, but getting some really healthy foods. I'm trying to get my quotes back because, of course, you know, I managed to nuke that in that little process, as usual. Hold on, people. I will not be beaten by a browser. There we go. Now, just there we go. Please behave yourself so I can do this properly. All right, so we're going to do this in a very simple way. And the simple way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to take a big bowl. And I'm going to put everything into the big bowl, and then I'm going to put it into my meal prepping system, then cook it. And then you'll be able to see how easy that is. So first of all, I'm going to take a can that, Jody, 540 milliliters. What's that in American, please? I'm going to take a can of condensed mushroom soup, right? And this is the no-name brand from my local supermarket, nothing fancy. And you want it to be, as you can see, that's fairly thick. And I would recommend that. And it's a really time-saving way to start. Now, it comes out of a can, and as we know, if it comes out of a can, it's going to be high in sodium. But again, we're going to add good stuff, and that will help bring down the sodium content, all right? All right, so here's what we're going to do. One of the things I knew we were going to need was parsley. And what I want to say is, do any of you get cross because you can't buy just a sprig? You got to buy enough to keep you going. How long do you reckon that, if you could keep it going, how long do you think that would last you? You know what I mean? It's just like, seriously, I just wanted a sprig. And the very minimum I can buy is this much. So I wanted to show you what I do with it, how I make it last a year. All right, so one of the things I want in there is some parsley. So what I did is I cut the florets of the actual little leaves off, and that's what I want in there. Okay, some leaves. Now, you're probably wondering, what did I do with the stalks? You know, I didn't throw them away. I'm going to show you. The next thing I want in there is some I want some pepper, extra pepper, because pepper's good for us. Now, it's good for the system. And obviously, because we're talking about it, we want to put some cardamom in there. That's a whole discussion. Thanks. Oh, Nora, how kind of you. Nora's saying 450 milliliters is 15 fluid ounces in American. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Jody's reminding us, Jody is reminding us that, you know, a smoothie like that is actually a health drink. Far less sugar than anything that would be prepared commercially. Just always remember that. All right, so I hacked in about a teaspoon. Now, I could add in quite a bit more, but I'm not going to. And just remind me to show you about the parsley, because I want to do that while this is cooking. Now, I got all sorts of other things that I thought I'd add in, right? Because I want to make this as a fish base. I'm going to throw in some corn and peas. There we go. I'm going to throw in some broccoli. That's good for us. Greens. Remember, we're going to eat the rainbow, people. Going to throw in some onion. And I've got purple onion. I'm going to throw in some zucchini. And for those of you who live in Europe, we would call that marrow. I'm going to throw in some red pepper, eat the rainbow, some carrot, some leeks, and some celery. And by the way, I've got celery and the celery leaves in here. Actually, I want to chop that up a little bit more. Looks a bit too big for what I want. So let me just chop that up a little bit more. So I will keep repeating that thing that Benji always said to me, which is eat the rainbow, because then I know if I can see the rainbow, which I can, then this meal is likely to have a lot more healthiness to it. So all I've done is just add the rainbow to the basic soup recipe. So I'm just going to stir that in. Pretty easy. And now I've got some cod here. Got some pieces of cod, and I'm just going to cut that up and put that in. Now, it's up to you. You know, if you like big slices of fish, you know, chunks of fish, that's good. I like to have, I'm not a big fish eater, so I like it to be a sort of afterthought almost. Let's put some more. There we go. So now we've got some fish in there. Put this away again. Sounded easy when I said it. It wasn't so easy. I'm going to rinse this off. Okay, so let's mix this all up. Now, we also know that in cooking this, it's going to probably thicken up even more. So what I'm going to do is add a little of extra milk to it. Now, you could add yogurt as well. So I'm going to add some milk to it just to make sure that we have it. Okay. And now I'm going to put it into again, Jody, thank you for talking about these. This is a food prep thing, and it actually is clever. It's made of silicone. So the good news is you can cook in it, you can microwave it, you can freeze it. Basically, actually, I checked to see how high you could take this. They said up to 500 degrees Celsius. That's pretty high, sorry, Fahrenheit, which is 230, I think, or 240 Celsius. Pretty, oh, wait a minute. Was it on here? No, I did look it up, and that's what they recommended. All right, so here, what I like about these is they've got little areas, and it tells you, you know, it's done in Canadian, so it's in milliliters, but it tells you how full you can fill it. So the question is, do you want to have 1 cup servings or 1.5 cup? That is up to you, all right? But what I'm going to do is just fill these up, not all the way to the top, because we know that we're going to freeze this and we need room for expansion when it freezes. Yeah. Okay, we've got a little bit for each, a little bit more for each. So basically we've got about a cup, just under a cup for each. Okay. Now, the good news is this magic container is first of all going to cook it, then we're going to let it cool, and then we're going to freeze it all in the same container. How many of you are going, that is smart? Okay, so let me just make a plan here. So I like this because it is really sturdy, right? When you lift it up, it doesn't bend or whatever. It's really sturdy. So I'm putting it into my toaster oven at 350. It should take about half an hour. All right, it should be cooked enough. Remembering, we want it cooked enough so the fish is cooked, but then we will be cooking it again when we heat it up. Make sense? So it doesn't need to be totally perfect. It just needs to be, what should we say? Safe. That would be the word. Okay. What's in the can? This was mushroom soup, condensed mushroom soup. And I added a little bit of milk to it at the end, Kimmy. All right, so Jody, I really thank you for recommending that. And did yours come with the big one as well, Jody? The small 1 cup bits and then the big one. This is really clever. This allows you, the big one, it allows you to, for example, to maybe put meat at the bottom, and then they've got this little shelf that you can put down, then put more meat and put the shelf. Or if I get these things out again, as you can see, I found other uses for it. Or you can do this with it, which is you can literally have it like this. And, you know, for example, if you're cutting up steak or anything, you can put 1 steak in there, put another steak in there, put another steak there, another steak in here. You know, and in fact, you can probably do it that way, even 3 each, like that. Yep. And freeze them like that. Clever, very clever. I love it. All right, so let's put these back because we're going to use those again in a minute. This will just keep it dry. Because I have other bits that I want to talk to you about. What I've done is I've cut up some lemon, because once it's cooked and cooled, I'm going to put some lemon in on top of each of those, and a little bit of garnish with the parsley, so that it's totally ready to go as it is. All right. Oh, interesting. Jody's saying the one she's got is just the 4 thing with the lid. You haven't got the big meat one with it. I managed to find that. I think the whole lot cost me less than $50. And think about this. I can cook in it. I can prep in it, cook in it, freeze it, and end up with 4 perfect, you know. And by the way, I don't know about you, but it's much easier to put those little oblongs into the freezer than, you know, containers. And that's what I liked about it. So now I want to have a talk about, all right, parsley comes like this. Looks pretty droopy, doesn't it? And so what I wanted to do was, I think you saw that I took the florets off, all right, like this. I call them the florets, but just the leaves I took off, all right? But I did not throw this away. You know me better than that. Why? This has a wonderful parsley taste to it. So what I do, just so that you know, is it's here, people. We know it's here. That wet. There it is. All right. When I was cutting the carrot, I had bits of carrot left over. I cut up the ends of the parsley, right, the stalks. Can you see that? And what I do, this is, some of you have seen me do this before, but this is a piece of coffee filter. All right. And what I do, this is like a baby mason jar. I don't put the lid in. I leave the lid like this, put the coffee filter on top, and then screw it down. Now I can dehydrate this in here. Oh, I've got some pepper in there as well. So what I'm going to do is just let this all dehydrate naturally. And the reason you have the coffee paper is so that it can breathe naturally. And, you know, so you haven't got it sealed and everything, it's breathing. So, and you can just shake it up every day and it will just dehydrate nicely. And by the way, you can actually even dehydrate it in the fridge if you don't want it sitting out all the time. So I just do that. Now, why? Two things. When I do soups and stews, I take this and throw it into a soup and stew or a stew. It's got all the right flavors in it. For those of you who have vegetable powder that you add to your smoothies, why don't you make your own? That's what this is. All I've got to do is get this good and dry, put it in my Magic Bullet or my Nigel the Ninja, and just brrr the heck out of it, and I will have vegetable powder. I get to choose which vegetables and add the cardamom. So that's the one thing. The second thing, how many of you, now this is a question I'd like to see. How many of you ever pressed flowers when you were a kid? And I would like to remind you, it was a very simple process. For a lot of us, the way we pressed flowers was to take, for example, and we pretend that this was a flower. You took this and you opened up the phone book. Remember those things? And you just put it in and you close the phone book and it would dry in the phone book. Don't ever forget that. The phone book is a very good way to dry things. However, some of you use blotting paper, and it doesn't really matter how you do it. The main thing is just know it's possible to do. I actually do mine like this, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. This is leeks that I've dried. This is chives. This is dill. And this is, I have no idea what, because I forgot to write on it. I'm a human. So I look at this and don't think I've got to throw half of that away. First of all, I'm going to leave some of them in water to see if they grow roots, and in which case they're going in my garden in the spring. But what I will do with most of it is just do this. Just take a paper towel here and just roll it over like that. Take another bit, roll it over, take another bit. It's a long bit. Okay, and roll it over. And that's probably enough. All right, and then I just bend it like that and bend it. Now, we got a bit hanging off the end, not the end of the world. We can put that in for this week's garnishings. And all I do is I take one of the elastic bands that I've got, that I've saved from things that come into the house with elastic bands on them. I just put the elastic band on like that. And sometimes I remember to write on it. So what was this one? Parsley, right? So I just need to know that's parsley. And there it is. And I will now just put this in my spice drawer, and it will sit there and dry itself out without my having to touch it again. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to open up that's the parsley. I don't want to open that. I've just done it. I'm going to open up the leeks so you can see. Hi, Lizzie. Good to see you. All right. So remember, I've done nothing to it except wrap it in paper towel. And here we have dried leeks, which now, can you see that? Perfectly dried leeks. I buy these little baggies at the dollar store. And I just open that up. There we go. And now I will just put the dried leeks in there. And now when I'm making stews or gravies or something and I want a little bit of that leek taste in there, I will just add some. If I don't happen to have any in the freezer, I'm going to have it. Jody, I didn't ask, but did you by any chance do a time check on when I put the stuff in the oven? I think I'm going to leave it in there for another 20 minutes, is my guess. Okay, so there we go. Now, because it's me, I need to write on it what it is, which is leeks. Okay, so now you don't waste it. And if you've got two things, you can pulverize it into powder, add it to smoothies and stuff, or you can just add it in, crumble it into your soups and stews, but you don't have to waste it. Dill, I actually have no idea what the dill will look like. And there's a reason why I want to show you this. Look at that. Perfect. So cute. Now, I'm not going to waste time doing it now, but you see that it worked, kept its color, worked beautifully. And so after the broadcast, or tomorrow, I will put that in a baggie. Now, remember, what did I do with that thing? Oh, yeah. Remember, herbs in something like this is about 10, 11 bucks. And where is the cost? In the glass. So I bought all this parsley for next to nothing. Right? It's enough parsley to keep me going for a year if I am smart. Number one is, let me see, if I keep it in water, does it grow roots? In which case I will, literally have it growing all spring and summer and use it. Or most of it I will just dry out. And then I've got enough parsley for the whole year, buying it once. Now, what if next month I buy cilantro the same way? That, you got to buy a big bunch of it, more than you'd use. But I don't see it as waste anymore. I go, my spice cabinet is about to fill up, because all I'm going to do is wrap it in paper towel and create my own herb system. That's okay, Jody. I've got it here I've got it going, no problem. I still don't know what's in here. I got to find out, right? No idea what it is. Oh, right. I did that today, but I forgot to write on it. I know what it is. Do you want to know? This is lemon seeds. Remember I said to you, that I cut these slices of lemon? Well, I took the seeds out and I've kept the seeds. Why? What if one of them actually sprouts this spring? I could have a lemon tree. If none of them do, it's going to be fun trying. All right. Now, you all know that I do this with chives, all right? I buy it like this. Then I cut the tops of it off like this and then drop it back into water. Now, I cut the tops of this one yesterday. Can you see how much it's already grown? And as far as I know, Jody, you probably remember better than I do. I've had this one going for at least 2 months, I would think. So I bought it once, and it's still, each time I just cut it off level with the top of the top of the jar, and I use this stuff during the week. And then by the end of the week, I'm literally cutting it again. So don't buy it. Now, I did buy a new one because this is beginning to look a little stringy. Still probably has got more than enough in it, but I just decided as I was in the store I'd buy another one. So okay, that's good fun. All right, so now then, did we learn something today? How many of you are going, I could do that? I could dry my own herbs and save myself a fortune. Remember, buy it when it's in season and buy a bunch like that, and then just let nature do its thing. Now, you're going to use some paper towel, but with all due respect, you can reuse the paper towel. By the time you unwrap this, everything is dry, and so is the paper towel, so you can still use it. Please remember to write on it what it is. Mind you, it is fun having a look at it going, wonder what that is. I have had some, got to be honest, where I unwrapped it, had forgotten to write on it. I'm going, I have no idea what that is. And so what I did is I just ground it all up into powder, and it goes into a bag called mixed herbs because I have no idea what it is. All right, now I want to make sure that this is pretty clean and tidy here because I want to show you the card, how I did it while we have this cooking. All right. So if you are somebody who likes to be creative, I do recommend getting some cardstock. Now, cardstock is thicker than the paper you normally put in your printer. I like to buy cardstock that is glossy on one side. So this is thicker paper with a gloss. So I actually look for about 80-pound gloss, right? So it's glossy on one side, which is why you end up with such a beautiful picture. How many of you are going, that's almost got a 3D effect to it, right? So all I did was I designed it so that the picture would drop in the right place on the paper, right? So basically, I designed a full page, but I just covered the bottom with the picture. Does that make sense to everybody? Noor, that is so cute. I'm just reading, and I can't, for some reason, I can't find the comments on my screen here. So I'm reading it here, and it says, Noor saying, my mind is blown. Having one bunch of parsley or coriander last a whole year. That's why we do these things. Okay, so can you see how I got that bit done? All right. And I did this, I think I did this with Google Slides, right? So you don't need a fancy program to do it. So that's it. Now, you need to crease it nicely, and that can be a little challenging. But I find if you want, if you've got a knitting needle or something, and just crease it with that, okay? It gives it a nice crease. However, then I went online to find what I wanted, which was this picture. It didn't have the 75. It just said happy birthday. And I found that online. Now, I obviously don't want you infringing copyright, so I must make sure you know For me to use this to do one birthday card for my neighbor is not an infringement of copyright. If I were to make a lot of these using this picture and sell them, that is. All right. So just know the difference. And so what I did is I got this picture, and then in Google Slides, because I'm smart, I actually put in the 75th, all right, on top of the picture, and then made sure it was centered and about the right size. Do you get the idea? And then I printed that page on my printer. So far, so good. Any questions? Now, for this next bit, you need an X-Acto knife, my very well used one, or maybe a box cutter if you haven't got an X-Acto knife, all right? You've probably got one of those in the house. And let me show you what I did. Imagine that this is flat. And then what I did is I cut here, all right, on the flat piece of paper. I cut here, 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 like in steps. Can you see that? Same on the other side. And then I just folded it like this. Now, this is going to take a bit of trial and error, so be prepared to get it wrong a couple of times if necessary, all right? Because what you want to be able to do is to fold it so that when you close the card, it closes. Got it? But when you open it, it does that. How many of you are going, that's so cool? So remember, all you do is just cut. I've left this bit on there, I haven't cut anything at the top. That's holding at the top, and it's holding obviously on the bottom half. Right, got it? So then I had that cut. Now what I did is I took some glue and I glued all along the edges. Be careful not to glue underneath here, but I glued all along the bottom there because I knew that was okay, and all of there. And then I glued the two together. And then after that had dried, I then closed it and put it under something really heavy to make sure that it held together pretty well when it was flat. And now I have the card. The question you might want to ask is, how long did that take? Well, I do things in steps. So earlier in the week, I found this picture. And then the next night, I found this. And then the third night, I printed both of them. And then the next night, I cut it to make sure it worked before I attached it to this. I didn't want to waste this. So I cut it to make sure that it worked. Does that make sense? And when it did, I got very excited. And then I just put the glue on it, and there we go. Now, obviously, I'm going to sign it tonight and do things, but can you see that I could have put her name here or done whatever? I decided to put the 75th because there are not too many cards that say that. And I wanted it to be orchids because I knew I was giving her an orchid. So for a little bit of effort, I think it's a beautiful card. It is, isn't it? And the gift of the orchid is a present that will hopefully, keep on flowering for at least 3 to 6 months. So that's, I reckon, worth it. So glad you guys like that. Now, the what have I got there? Fish. The fish base is nearly done. And what I wanted to talk to you about is, imagine, if you will, I'm going to let that cool in a minute, but imagine, if you will, that it is cooled and I freeze it in that same container. And then the next day I can pull it out and then put it in bags. This is the next thing I wanted to talk to you about. Hold on 1 second. I think you all know that I reuse my plastic bags. I buy high quality bags and reuse them. I wash them inside out in the dishwasher. Every night, I just put whatever plastic bags I've used. They will just go in the dishwasher. Like, I'll throw them in here, and then I just turn them inside out like this and put them in the dishwasher. Why inside out? Because I want the clean bit to be the inside. Really clean is that inside bit. And then I take them out and I just let them dry. I actually take them, I've got a whole bunch here. What I do is I take them 3 or 4 or whatever it is like this, and I just clip them with a clothes peg to one of my aprons. So I just clip it like this, and then the air in my laundry room just dries them overnight. So these bags, some of these bags are probably a couple of years old. But this is what I wanted to tell you. I didn't buy the usual ones that I buy because I found these, and I wanted to show you why I bought them. Number one, they're high-grade freezer bags, all right? They're thicker. Number two, it has a really good seal on it, stronger seal. Number three, and I like this feature, my usual ones don't have this, which is they've got that little bit at the bottom, so if you need them to, they will stand. They will stand, especially if you learn how to do that right. There you go. They will stand, so you can sort of hold them, and pour stuff into them fairly easily. So I like that. But the real reason I got them, over and above all of those, is because the price, I found that the price for buying a set of 3, which is not normally what I buy, a box of 3 boxes together is a bulk price and always much cheaper. But what I found was the price for 74 of these was even better. All right, so I bought this box of 74, which should last me a couple of years at least. Well, probably longer, knowing me, because I'll just keep washing them and reusing them. But, even if that lasted me a year, right? Really good price, really good quality, lots of good features to them. So recommend that. So, what else did I have for you? Let's get the... Oh! Another thing before I make a mess here. How many of you got laptops? I think some of you know that I've been finding ways not to get crumbs, eyelashes, flour, bread, you name it, into my laptops, because I've noticed the last 3 laptops, the reason they died is because of the crud that was inside them. And so what I got was this. I've been doing experiments, and I got this. This is a piece of silicone specially made for laptops. And you can find out what size you want, depending on the size of your laptop. And you just literally put it over your laptop keys. Can you see that? Look, there I am. You can just put it over your laptop keys like that. Now, quite honestly, a few crumbs still managed to work their way under. So the press and seal worked even better. But I found with my nails, I was going through press and seal every week. So, but I do want to recommend this. Now, the amount of crud that's going to get under my keys now on here, minimal. Minimal. Probably still a couple, but nothing like before. Kimmy's asking, where did I buy those bags? I bought them on Amazon. Right, these hefty things. I didn't know that they made little bags. I knew they made big ones. I didn't know they made little ones. So that was interesting. All right. And did you see the bits that fell off my keyboard? What I found, and I talk about this occasionally, is if you've got a laptop where the keys aren't working, buy an external keyboard. I've got my keyboard attached to my laptop where the keys, my keys come off. I lose keys on my laptops all the time because I type so fast and so hard, apparently. So now what I do is I don't buy a new laptop, I buy a new keyboard. And Kimmy, I know you bought this as well. I think we managed to get this for under $50. It's a lot cheaper than a new laptop. I have a number of laptops because they do different things. This one here stays in this cupboard. It's my what I call my broadcasting one. So that's all it has to do. Why? It's an old one, but it does a good job of the broadcast. So it stays here. Now then, let's get out this. And I want to talk about this a little bit. Now, basically, it's cooked enough that the fish is cooked. Do you get it? All the vegetables are still a little al dente type stuff, but I could do it. So I've got a choice. I can leave it in there and cook it a bit more until it's all totally cooked and then freeze it, or do it like this. Now, do not touch it. It's very hot. But what I want you to imagine is that this is cooled, okay? And now that I've got it out of the freezer and I'm going to turn it upside down, and I've now got blocks of fish stew. The thing is, what could we do with that? And that's where I want you to think about what you could do with it. Oh, Nora's asking, where did I get this from? It's called, just so you know, it's called a Mofi. There's the name right there on the thing. M-O-F-I. And I think I got this on Amazon as well. I've got a link to it in my, Jody, if you could just put a, I've got a link to it on my Amazon page under computers. If you hold on a second, Jody will go and find it for you. It's under the list of computers and technical equipment or something. But I really want to tell you, it's a game changer if you're hard on your laptop keys, which I am. All right, so let's go back to this story. And by the way, it also allows me to have the laptop up at this level and my keyboard down here because they're connected. And by the way, it's got the cutest mouse. And it's pink. Manon will be very happy. All right, now I want you to think. We're presuming that this lot has now cooled and frozen, and now we've got 4 blocks of fish soup or fish base. And soup is one possibility. You could decide, I don't feel like eating this as a meal. What I want to do is have it as a soup. So you could just take this, thaw it, and then blend it in and make soup out of it. Does that make sense? So that's one option. Some of you would take this and put it over noodles. Yeah, thaw it, warm it up, and then, just, put it over top of noodles. What else would you do? Some of you would put it over rice. By the way, put the cardamom in the rice as well. Very good idea. And what I'm going to show you is what I'm going to do tonight with one lot of this, which is I'm going to make it, I'm going to take one of this lot out and put it in here and let it continue cooking for the rest of the broadcast. Getting it out of here and leaving the others in might be difficult, but yeah, we can play, right? Now, what is, you all know that part of the reason why this is so good for us is because this is portion control. This says, I'm going to have a cup of this, or each member of my family is going to have 1 cup. And it is one of the things that I think is the biggest challenge to us is meal prepping the right amount. Because if you actually meal prep the right amount, you will end up eating less and eating better. Okay, that sort of worked. Now the question is, will this go back in my toaster oven that way? Hold on 1 second, let's see. Because that's what I'd like it to do. I've got a deep toaster oven. Yes! So I could put 2 of those in there if I wanted to, but what I'm going to do is just blend a topping for you. All right, so this is the partially cooked. And now what I'm going to do is make a topping for it. Oh, I love playing these experiments. Oh, Kimmy is letting people know that that keyboard that I showed you is now on sale for about $34 in American. This one. How about that? Good deal. Huh? All right, so here we go. Actually, I have that ready, but this will do just as well. I'm going to take some, you know, I make my own bread, and at the end of the week or after a few days, what I do is what I haven't eaten, I turn into breadcrumbs. So the first thing I'm going to put in are some breadcrumbs. Okay. And how do I do that? I put it into Nigel the Ninja and just get it down into smaller chunks, and then I dry them, and then I blend it again, and I get down to really nice thin breadcrumbs. Okay, so now I'm thinking it's fish, so we'll add some lemon zest. Good idea. There we go. Can you see that? And how did I do that? Very easily. I just took my lemon and my julienne machine, as I call it, all right, and I just literally scraped it off, and it came off in those little strips. By the way, I always keep these little things because they're really useful for putting half things in. Now, we've got some dried chives, all right, that I've been freeze drying in my kitchen, no, in my fridge. So to put that in, we're going to need some pepper in there, because pepper's good for us. And we'll put a bit extra cardamom in there. The old dog story, where did I hide it this time? There it is. And how many of you remember from last week, I'm trying to use up Parmesan, so I'm going to put some Parmesan in there as well. So boom, about a teaspoon, and I got some Parmesan here. Let's put some of that in. Okay. How about some butter? We'd like it to be crispy, right? So why don't we huck in some butter as well? Too much? Just some? Should do it. All right. Okay, I'm just going to shake it. Do it one more time. That's good. Okay. And now I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. Can you see? And I don't think it needs more than that, so make sense? And then when it's done, I will just garnish it with a bit more of that parsley because we've got so much of it. Why not? So here we go. I'm going to put that in to cook some more. And I'm just turning that up to 400 now. How much time have we got left for the broadcast? Let me just see here. Yeah, it should be about, just about right. All right, so Jody, could you just give me a heads up to double check on that in about 20 minutes? I appreciate that. All right, so now, not going to waste this. It's all good stuff. Oh. So I think that should do. Oh, I haven't finished yet. Wait, there's a reason why I was doing this. Why didn't you tell me that? Ha! I knew there was a reason. I had another plan. Okay. Plan B. So we've got all this and it's looking good. It's a really nice mix. And what I'm going to do now is I've got some mashed potato here. And I've still got some more fish. So we're going to make some fish cakes. Really easy to do. Jody, the time check, I would say about 20 minutes would be fine. Just so I don't forget it, really. All right, so let's do this. So what I'm going to do is clear some space first.